welcome to my instructional video on moving from a fixed to a growth mindset. My name is Dave Bazanko and I'm going to be your mentor throughout this journaling process. Now, as you may have noticed in that opening video, I indeed am an Ironman triathlete. But I wasn't always an Ironman triathlete. As a matter of fact, around the time I turned 40, I had a very fixed and focused mindset. I did not have what somebody might describe to be a growth mindset. I was fixed and fascinated on success and what I thought success meant and looked like. As a matter of fact, I was working 80-hour work weeks trying to get ahead. I was actually 50 pounds overweight, not paying any attention to my diet, my exercise, my mental health, my sleep. None of that mattered. It was all about success and money and paying off the home and being a good provider. Little did I know that that recipe for success that most of us follow was fundamentally flawed and backwards. So let me give you a little bit of my backstory. Back around the time I turned 40, I weighed 220 pounds. I was 50 pounds overweight, and one night I was driving my son home from a hockey game. And as I was driving home, I was experiencing chest pains that I had experienced before, only this time they were radiating down my left arm. I knew this was a bad sign. So I dropped my son off at home and I said to my wife, I'm going to check myself in at the hospital, and I was too embarrassed to call an ambulance, so I drove myself to the hospital. When I got there, they immediately put me into the cardiac ward. They took some blood, they hooked me up to the EKG machines, and there I was in the ward looking around at the three other guys in the beds. And we all had these blank looks on our faces like, how the heck did we get here? I mean, we're all too young to be in this situation. What's going on? And then the doctor came in. And the doctor said, Dave, I've got good news and I've got bad news. The good news is you didn't have a heart attack today. The bad news is you're going to have one very soon if things don't change. So I'm going to give you two choices. You can either go on heart and cholesterol medication for the rest of your life, or you can choose to lose some weight and get in shape. Now, I heard the word choice. So, like a rational person, I said, I'm going to choose to lose the weight and get in shape. And with that, the doctor said, okay, here's a piece of paper. Eat this, don't eat that. The rest is up to you. Now, what would you do if you were in my shoes? What I did was what came naturally. I decided to trust the usual suspects in the diet and fitness industry. I went back to the gym, I hired a personal trainer, and after 3 months, saw no results. I was more confused than when I started, and I was more frustrated when I started. So then I did what also seemed very natural. I turned to a trusted friend, somebody who didn't stand to gain any money from me. You see, the fitness industry is not unlike any other industry. They are in business to sell more goods and services profitably to you. That's not a recipe for success. Maybe it is for them, not for you. So I turned to a trusted friend who looked like he was living that healthy, happy life that I was trying to achieve. And I said, Scott, you look great. What can I do to be more like you? And he said, Dave, I'm not going to try and turn you into a triathlete, but you know what? You really should pick up a copy of this book. It's called The Triathlete's Training Bible by Joe Friel. And I said, Scott, I don't want to be a triathlete. You got me all wrong. And he said, Dave, I'm not trying to trick you into becoming a triathlete. What you're going to learn in this book is how to do something called periodized training. You're going to learn how to journal 365 days like a triathlete does, so that you can manage your expectations and reach your goal in 365 days. That's how a triathlete actually gets to race day. They map out a process and they follow that process for 12 weeks. It's a very simple formula. So you might be asking yourself right now, what does this have to do with me? I don't want to be a triathlete. Well, the wonderful bit is that this is the same process that every successful business person out there uses. They journal in a very methodical way and they build positive momentum so that they're always moving closer towards their goals. So, I mean, anybody can sit down and open up a book and start writing down goals, journaling positive things that have happened to them. But that's not the real process. That is a haphazard way of doing things. And I started off that way. I started off with a very informal journal, got this book, and started creating a very structured journal. And then I've adapted that over the course of the last, say, 12 years, 3 Ironmans later, and I've put it into a process that I believe that you will be able to benefit from. What's even more important is that I am not here to sell you any goods and services. That is not what I'm here for. You can take the information that I'm going to share with you today. You can pick up a 3-ring binder and some lined paper, and you can start creating your own journal with everything that I'm going to share with you today, and you can be just as successful as anyone else. But if you're like me and you like to be organized and you like to be sort of compartmentalizing your thinking, you might want to pick this up. For $30, you can pick up this journal online from my website, or maybe your employer has given you one. But inside the journal, you're going to find structure for 365 days, and you're going to be able to go back and reflect on what you've done and watch the positive momentum grow forward. So, if you're ready to get started, I'm ready to start sharing. So I'm going to go through step by step what the journal looks like, how we go through it, and at the end, we're going to get you started on the very next day of positive success in your life. Welcome to the Journal of Growth Mindsets. This is going to be awesome.